Now is the time for students' interaction. The questions will be taken from the students only. And before asking the questions, please introduce yourself with your name, college name, and semester or year you are studying in.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Samiksha Sharma of semester 3 from Rajasthan School of Law for Women. Sir, my question from you is that what inspired you to incline yourself towards public interest litigation?
No, I was always interested in public issues, and therefore, wherever I felt that there was some public issue. See, when I started my practice in 1983, those were the early days of public interest litigation. So wherever I felt that I could do something by way of improving public interest, or I used to take up those cases gradually. You see, initially I started with environmental cases, then I started doing some civil liberties cases, then I started doing more general cases of social disabilities, etc. Then I started doing these corruption cases, institutional. So gradually my area of interest, because I was always interested in a very broad range of public issues. So wherever I felt that something needs to be done, and if I could do something about it, I did it. COVID, for example, is another area which I was interested in. So I was studying what was happening and reading a great deal about it. Artificial intelligence is another area which I have been now tracking now for some time. So I have a sort of very broad, and that's one thing that I tell everybody. See, I have a very peculiar educational journey. I went to IIT, then I left after one semester, then I studied economics for 1 year very seriously, then I got into philosophy, then I went to Princeton to do a PhD in philosophy of science and so on. Eventually I came back to law. But my father always used to say, my father never discouraged me from going here and there. He always said that everything that you learn will be of use to you if you do it seriously. And it turned out like that everything that I have learned has been of use to me in my later career. So everything that I have studied, that I have learned, lawyers need to have a sort of broad interest and need to really keep your eyes and ears open on all the major things that are happening to our society. Then only you will really become a good, effective lawyer.
Law for Women. I'm from 5th semester. So I wanted to ask, which was the most memorable case till yet in your journey?
Cases in different ways. In some ways, the Narmada Bachao Andolan case can be seen as the most memorable case that I did, because that case involved, incidentally, the paper books of that case eventually ran into almost 250 volumes. There were 250 volumes, so it was a nightmare to carry those files to court and bring them back, and even for the judges. And this was before they had electronic copies of everything. Now they do have electronic copies. That case involved three kinds of issues. And to my mind, they go to the heart of our development model. Not just in the case of large dams, etc. They go to the root of our development model. So there were environmental issues. So the dam construction and the submergence caused considerable impact on the environment. There were displacement issues which involved sort of Article 21 rights of the people on the ground. And then there were cost-benefit issues. That what is the cost of this? For example, I mean, many people say that In Gujarat, they say that this Narmada Dam is the lifeline of Gujarat. I call it the curse of Gujarat for the reason that it has swallowed the entire irrigation budget of Gujarat for the last 45 years. If even 20% of this money had been spent on micro watershed development, every village of Gujarat would have had irrigation long back. Today, this project provides irrigation only to 5% or 10% of the area of Gujarat, less than 5 or less than 10%. And it has swallowed the entire irrigation budget of Gujarat. And there are many projects like this which are going on. Horrendous, absolutely, if you do the cost-benefit analysis. So therefore, it was, for me, a very interesting and a very important case.
Sajal Yadav from 3rd semester. So my question is, even after introduction of PIL, sir, can you please highlight why arrested detainees is still facing human rights issues?
You see, the fact that people, some of our finest human rights activists in the Bhima Koregaon case, have been in detention now for more than 6 years without even the trial starting, and they have not even got bail. Same thing has happened to some of our finest activists in the Delhi riots cases like Umar Khalid, etc. Now they are languishing there for two reasons. One, that they have been all charged under UAPA. Some people are today charged under PMLA. Now these are two very draconian laws. Of course, the Narcotics Act is also a very draconian act, in which giving bail has been made very difficult. Now, strictly speaking, these laws should have been struck down as violative of Article 21, because if you have a law which says that you will not be given bail, the normal rule of bail is that bail is the rule, jail is the exception, and bail will not be denied unless one of three things are present. Number one, that this person will flee and will not face trial. Number two, that this person will tamper with evidence. Number three, that this person has committed a very heinous offense and is likely to repeat such offenses if released on bail. These are the only three conditions on which bail can be denied. But this law has been changed in the case of UAPA, PMLA, Narcotics Acts, etc. There are some draconian laws in which say that you will not give bail if there is even a prima facie case against him. Now, before trial, how does the judge hold that there is not even a prima facie case? If the police has made a false case, in the Bhima Koregaon case, for example, the police have made a totally concocted case that these people were conspiring to assassinate the Prime Minister. And that case has been made against the most peaceful and the best human rights activists on the basis of some email inserted into their computer by using Pegasus, which has been shown. But despite that, the judges are not, some very few have been released on bail, but most of them are still languishing in jail without bail for six years. So therefore, this is a failure in my view of the judiciary, and unfortunately, instead of striking it down, they have made it even more draconian by saying, this gentleman who has been appointed Lokpal, he delivered a judgment 4 years ago or 3 years ago saying that at the stage of bail under UAPA, you cannot even consider whether the evidence adduced against this person is admissible or not. So it's a failure to my mind of the judiciary. It's a sort of very great failure of the judiciary.
My name is Rupali Ashival, a second-year student at Rajasthan School of Law for Women. So my question is, so what is the procedure of filing a PIL?
Today you have to file a regular petition. PIL, just like any other petition, if you file it in the High Court, it's a writ petition under Article 226. if you file it in the Supreme Court, it's a writ petition under Article 32, which can only be filed for violation of fundamental rights. So you file it like a regular petition. There is no separate procedure, except if the petitioner can be anybody. It need not be somebody who has a direct interest in that matter or who is directly affected by that matter. It could be anybody.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, my name is Umaira Sayyed. I am from Rajasthan School of Law for Women. I am from 5th semester. As upcoming lawyers, what advice would you give us to handle failure?
To handle
Failure.
Too much emphasis on marks, grades, and so on. We should de-emphasize all that. And failure is part of life. You live and learn through failure also. I'm not encouraging people to fail. I'm just saying that people should not be so discouraged by not getting the highest marks. Sometimes, you see, children are often told by parents, often kind of encouraged by parents to come first in class or be in the top of their class. I have always, and this is my experience also, I have seen that by and large people who have been driven, children who have been driven to be on the top of their class, do not end up doing so well in life later. The people who do well in life later are people who have a much more relaxed outlook. So don't be afraid of failure. Of course, there is no reason for anybody to fail. Sometimes something can happen, but it's all right. You've seen that movie 12th Fail?
Yes. Thank you so much.